Hello, everybody. Just wait for more people to come in. Welcome to our second webinar, which is going to be on creating a paid search campaign. You're all very welcome. Just going to wait a few more minutes for more people to log on. Just a few more people coming in there now. I'll start and go ahead with the presentation. So once again, thank you all very much for attending. I think this is our second webinar on paid search series from Legacy Communication. My name is Shane McKenna. I'm the PPC director here in Legacy, responsible for managing the day-to-day campaigns across a wide variety of different clients. Just a little background on myself. I have over 10 years experience in paid search, both within an agency setting, but also in-house. Previously ran PPC campaigns for Oracle in the past before coming back into the agency world. This is going to be it's an introductory session, just nuts and bolts about what is a paid search campaign, primarily kind of what the different strategies would be, how to get one off the ground, what's important, what are the different elements of the campaign that are vital for when you start advertising, because it's very easy to make kind of, I suppose, small little mistakes, and Google has a wonderful habit of spending all your money as well. So it's kind of, I want to really kind of, I suppose, educate people really on kind of how to run those campaigns. So take issue. So again, kind of like, what is paid search? It's those ads on Google. So this is just an ad for kind of a PPC agency that I saw. But it's basically those ads on Google. It's important to understand, I think, as well, what how paid search interacts with other media. That it is, and I've got a slide, and the next slide will show this, that it is very seasonal. It's very much dependent on the different kind of advertising that you're doing as well. So we've got clients that would have a big push above the line, for instance, and would they would see more people searching for their brand. I think in terms of a general sense, there's three different types of paid search traffic. So there's brand, generic, and competitor. Obviously, brand is people searching for your brand. Generics, people searching for keywords around your product. Red shoes, non-branded terms. And competitors, obviously, competitor campaigns, and they interact they will interact with your website differently. They will have different conversion rates. Some can be good at driving, kind of from a performance point of view, driving leads or sales in different ways. And some are, particularly with brand, if you're in an industry that has a lot of competition, for instance, they're very much, you kind of need to be bidding on your brand because there's other people bidding on your brand, and you need to protect your brand within the paid search space. So it can be important from that sense. In terms of, like I was saying earlier, it is quite seasonal. So we see peaks and troughs. Definitely see increases in traffic, kind of start of the year, some clients, or some businesses see a lot of traffic at the start of the month, for instance, and it's kind of the distribution curve goes top to bottom. We would see an awful lot of kind of increases in traffic, with certain kind of retail clients, for instance, around Black Friday. And we're coming up to Christmas, so we will definitely see a decrease in traffic, kind of generally across all clients, from Christmas Eve to, I suppose, kind of middle of Christmas, around those few days over Christmas, is that it's just dead for a lot of clients. If you're particularly in like financial services or anything like that, you definitely see decreases then. So it is dependent on kind of other factors. Another thing as well is that it's generally an advertising platform that is used to attract or kind of capture demand within the market. Particularly from your generic keywords. So there's demand out there, and it's capturing it. It doesn't create demand. In a general sense, that it doesn't, we primarily used from a performance marketing point of view, so lead gen, and kind of sales orientated campaigns, rather than creating demand or creating people, for instance, buzz around your brand or whatever, even increasing branded search. I think it's really important to dive into the metrics around paid search as well. We love a good acronym. So, you'll hear about your CTRs and your CPCs and your CPAs and everything. And your, even don't have it shown there, but ROAS, for instance. But, what is an impression? What is a conversion? So we have, if we start at the top, clicks, people, these are clicks on your ads. It's generally kind of traffic going to your website is a good way to look at it. In impressions are ads shown. Just one impression equals one ad shown. Click-through rate, or CTR, is the percentage of clicks versus ads shown. So it's clicks over impressions. cost is what you've spent. It is important to note that that figure within the Google Ads interface is always ex VAT as well. So if you need to take account of VAT into your advertising, please bear that in mind. A conversion is, it's the objective of your campaign. So it's a sale, a lead. If you're doing an upper funnel kind of campaign, an engagement metric, time on site, people filling out a newsletter form, that sort of thing. Cost per conversion is the average cost of your lead sale or your conversion, etc. Again, that figure is ex VAT within the interface. And then conversion rate is the percentage rate of clicks that turn into sales or leads. So it's sales and leads, conversions over clicks. Impression share is the kind of the percentage of the available search market that you're showing ads to. So it's your slice of pie, so to speak. So a 50% impression share means you're showing ads to 50% of the search volume that's out there for that particular keyword or campaign or audience, for instance. And then top impression share, top percentage is the percentage of impressions where you're in the top four spot. There's also another one as well based on that, and it's called impression top absolute, which is the percentage of times you're at the number one spot as well. Paid search is very much a kind of, to think of it as it's a wheel of success, that there's a lot of it's very much an ongoing process, and it's kind of, I suppose, to use another buzzword, kind of rinse and repeat, that it's about kind of exploring and learning and looking at the data that you have within your account and creating your campaigns and optimizing those campaigns towards what's worked in the past, and then kind of moving away all the way around the wheel to reporting and learning and putting what you've learned back into your campaigns to optimize further. So at the very start, whenever we take over a campaign, or I take over a campaign, is I try and get as much data that I have as possible on the within the account. So look at any past performance. Where have we gotten kind of, I suppose, in terms of the keywords that we've been targeting, where have we got the most kind of, I suppose, conversions from, or what's worked the best? I look at ad copy that's driving the highest click-through rate, for instance, and then creating new campaigns based off that. So again, like I said, looking at your keywords and your audiences, looking at the ad copy, devising, do we have a separate strategy over device? Maybe that's something that can play out later in the campaigns, and then optimizing your copy towards the device. The campaign settings are very important. So it's very important that you'll be able to see this within the campaign itself, that you can set the ads so that they show only to people that are physically in or have recently been in your targeted location. By default, Google will set your ads to show people that have shown interest in your target location. So, for instance, if somebody searches Restaurant Dublin in London, they could potentially see your ad. If you're a restaurant and you're advertising in the Dublin area, they could potentially see your ad because Google thinks that person's interested in Dublin. So it's just a way for them to make more money. So please pay careful attention to your campaign settings. Another one as well is to make sure that you've got the search partners network excluded as well. We've seen a lot of bot traffic come through that in the past. Then another one as well is to look at your bid management. So your bidding strategies, you're bidding towards clicks, or you're bidding towards conversions, you're going to test into these different strategies. And then kind of, I suppose, more kind of an advanced strategy would be looking around automation and scripts. Kind of, can you can you I suppose, yeah, automate things in that sense? You should always be looking at your competitors. So again, there's the Auction Insight report. When you get started, you'll be able to see who else is bidding on the keywords, and you'll be able to keep track of where they are in the marketplace. But looking at their ad copy, what are they doing? There's other interesting tools like SEMrush that are quite good for getting a kind of a gauge of what your competitors are doing. And then looking at the landing page and your website, the landing page experience is vital for keyword quality score. And as well, it's important that for paid search, it's vital that you are constantly testing. So testing ad copy, I think you have a slide on this later on, testing ad copy, testing your landing pages, and general kind of structural tests through different A/B testing as well. And then coming up with a good reporting solution as well that is simple. Whether you're using the reporting should always be automated as well. I think that you're using something like Data Studio, for instance, that will just pull in numbers, and you're not going to be spending all day kind of creating reports in Excel, for instance. Before you get your campaign started, it's really, really important that you think about what you want to track, and that you get your tracking in place, because there's no point setting the campaign live and kind of, I suppose, being blind to what's actually moving the needle. So there's a number of different tracking solutions that are free within Google. You can add. It can be easily quite done through the Google Tag Manager as well. Is that it's all set up, to track leads and sales and kind of newspaper signups, either through a destination URL kind of track, or either through an event goal. In the first instance here, you can also track kind of app downloads as well quite easily within the back end of the Google interface as well. If this is only on the Google Play Store, if you're looking to track the app downloads within Apple, you'll need to use I suppose kind of Firebird or something. I'm sorry, I can't remember the name of it, but there is a separate analytics solution to track that. Calls it's very simple to track calls through the call extension. There's no extra code needed that, and you can track on-site calls through the Google Tag Manager as well. Very, very simple to set up Google's on-site call tracking solution as well. The easiest method that I use to track kind of, I suppose, a simple campaign of lead sales is just to simply import the goals from Google Analytics, so that you don't have to add any extra code, or you don't have to kind of become an expert in Google Tag Manager. It's really, really simple just to do that. And you can again import goals from HubSpot, from Salesforce, and I suppose for a more kind of a sophisticated solution as well, as you can upload kind of offline sales as well. So people that have maybe given their email address whenever at the time of purchase, in a store, for instance, or something like that, to track kind of offline sales to online activity is something that's quite cool. The structure of your campaign is super important as well. So for Google, the Google Ads paid search is very much a hierarchical system that you have your overall, you're in your account, and then you have your separate campaigns. Below the campaigns, you'll have ad groups. So ad groups house your keywords. And exact and phrase is in terms of keywords, you've got your different match types. So there's 3 different match types. There's exact, phrase, and broad. Starting off, the way things are with Google's targeting, I would just use exact and phrase. I would leave Broad to be tested at a later date. It's definitely something that works, but I think whenever you're starting a campaign, you need to be really, really strict about what people are searching. So if you're selling, for instance, red shoes, you just want an ad to show with the word red and shoes in it. You don't want an ad to show for, green slippers, for instance. So Broad will show for those kind of what the system thinks is relevant, but might actually not be relevant to your business kind of searches, and you'll be adding a lot of negative keywords. So just start off with exact and phrase, and again, add negative keywords as you go. But again, within the ad group, you will house your keywords and your house your ads as well, and you have audiences as well that you can layer on to your ad group or at a campaign level as well. Your audiences, so remarketing audiences. I've got a slide on it. Remarketing audiences, in-market audiences, for instance, and the really important thing is the theme of your ad group. So if it's like red shoes, for instance, all your ads, all your keywords centered around red shoes. If your ad group is, green slippers, all your ads, all your keywords centered around green slippers. It's just to keep the theme really, really tight. That's very good for ad relevancy, but also kind of, sending traffic to the right landing page as well. So it's really, really good for and important for your keyword quality score, which is probably the biggest way you're going to drive cheaper traffic. What does an ad look like? So, it's built up of different areas. So you have your headlines at the top here. So headline 1, 2, and 3. Sometimes Google doesn't show the third one, but will show 1 and 2, and then it's built up of descriptions. So descriptions 1 and 2 here. You can see 1 and you can see the second one here. And then you have what you can add on they're called ad extensions. They were called ad extensions when I started paid search. They're now called assets, but it's the same thing really. Site links, the 3 ones that we would always add to every campaign as kind of, I suppose, a matter of just as standard are site links, call out extensions, and structure snippets. So a site link is these. You'll see them underneath here, and they are essentially links to other pages on your website. You can also add descriptions into your site links as well. So you've probably seen, them, kind of built out a bit more. They're not here in the example. And you can add call outs, which are extra calls to action. So be brave, be sound, and be curious is our call outs. But you can have, call for a free consultation, or whatever. And then structure snippets is basically just a list of the types of services that you provide. And there's some predefined kind of, we've chosen types, but there's predefined different sections here. There is other ad extensions that you can add. So this is an example that I've seen online from GetSetGo that I think looks pretty striking, is you can add images to your ads now. Google has, over the last number of months, started to roll out more than one image. So, you can see here with this example, there's 3. I've seen 5 live in the market. You can add, there's a promotion extension. You can add a lead extension to drive leads from your ads. You can drive one. It's a message extension that is similar to the message, similar to leads. There's app install extension. There's location extensions. You can add a call extension. I think that I talked about in the past or in previous slides, and what to do with tracking. And it puts a call button up here. People can call, and also puts the phone number at the top of your ad on desktop. You can now add business name and logo here, which is very important for kind of just to make sure that you are who you are in front of the person who's seeing the ad. You will have to get the account verified by Google to do this, though. but it's something that you have to do anyway. You can add a price extension, which you can flip through the different products that you have. They can be added manually. And then you can add sellers ratings as well, which is something that will dynamically come in after you've reached, I think it's when you get above a 4 rating and you have so many reviews on Google or TripAdvisor that they start dynamically pulling in. They can be very, very handy if reviews are important to your business. Which I mentioned with these, and particularly with the site links as well, is that Google can show up to 4, but that doesn't mean that you just add 4 site links or you add 3 images. Add as many as you can. Add like 8 site links to your campaign. Add well over 5 images. Because Google will start mix and matching which one works best, and that will over they'll start showing the best one, and it'll increase your click-through rate. We have to use something called a responsive search ad now. With the ad copy, it's the standard ad type. So in the past it was text ads first, and then they got rid of them for expanded text ads. And then they've got rid of expanded text ads for responsive search ads. So with a responsive search ad, you can add up to 15 different headlines. So going back to our example here, so 15 different headlines here. And you can add 4 different descriptions. So again, going back to our descriptions here, 4 different descriptions. And then you can, the system will mix and match the best combination over time to show the best ad, drive the most, the highest click-through rate. You can also, if you've got something like, let's say, your brand, or you want to get people to call or something like that, you can have it so that these are pinned to 1, 2, or 3 different positions. So you can have your brand in one. There is flexibility within that to pin different headlines or descriptions to certain areas if that's important to the company. But I think you should leave pinning to a minimum, just so that you can let the system do its thing. Bidding is super important. There is manual bidding within Google Ads, but we're moving more and more to kind of, I suppose, automated bidding strategies. So enhanced CPC is something that I think Google is going to sunset quite soon. But the main ones from an automated bidding strategy point of view are maximize clicks, maximize conversions. If for a lead gen campaign, target CPA. If you're running kind of, I suppose, e-commerce businesses, or you're tracking revenue, target ROAS. So ROAS is return on ad spend. CPA is cost per acquisition. So we covered that in one of my previous slides. If you have a brand campaign, you can use target impression share to make sure that you're kind of at 90% plus impression share. And these viewable CPMs and cost per view are for YouTube campaigns. That are, you can't use them within paid search, but they're quite relevant for YouTube. But we are, like I said, we are moving towards kind of more automated bidding, and it's great in many ways that you can let the system do the bidding, because if you're using maximize clicks and maximize conversions and you have to pull back budget, it will automatically lower your bids, and you will see your CPCs come down. And then there's some great strategies around target ROAS as well, and target CPA that you can test into too. So these can be added within the kind of settings of the campaigns, and should definitely be utilized. It's important to think about, when it comes to bidding, to think about explaining what ad rank is. So ad rank is Google's rating or kind of scoring system on where it will show your ad. So I've mentioned keyword quality score. So Google Google will give your keyword a quality score based on 3 different things. So expected click-through rate, ad relevancy, and ad relevancy and expected click-through rate, ad relevancy, and landing page experience. Sorry, and it will. So if you score high with an expected click-through rate, and your format impact is basically your use of ad extensions, you've got as many ad extensions that you need or that's relevant to your business added, you could, with a high score and your ad extensions bid, you can have a low bid, but these multiplied by each other adds up to a very high ad rank. Therefore, you will show in the first spot. So those that are bidding, so you'll see that you will have to, if you have low quality score and you're not using any ad extensions, for instance, you'll have to bid higher to get shown or get shown at all. So it's really, really important to think about your keyword quality score, to think about those 3 things that I mentioned that you don't cut back there, and just to drive traffic at as cheap as possible price to lower your CPCs. Yeah, like I mentioned, expected click-through rate, ad relevancy, and landing page experience equals keyword quality score. So they're the 3 things that you need to work on when it comes to testing, is to think about your click-through rate and kind of landing page experience. So that could be even like page speed, the general kind of user experience of your website, that sort of thing. Ad relevancy would be trying to get as much keywords in as possible. Another thing to point is that Google will give the keyword quality score is a score from 1 to 10. 10 being the best, 1 being the least, or not the worst. And it's based on above average, average, and below average of each of these. So if Google thinks that your ad relevancy is above average and everything else is above average, you'll get a 10, and it'll score you in that sense. So you're essentially just trying to move each of these from average to above average or below average to average, and then on. With your testing to improve your keyword quality score. Match types are important, and I gauged on that earlier, is that it's super important to think about the quality of the traffic that you're sending from your campaign. So with match types, you'll see that there's exact match, phrase, and broad. So broad will, on paper, it should show for red shoes. Now, Google's made a lot of changes of late that it will show for other things that are relevant, but in general, it drives the traffic that is closest to what you're actually bidding on. Phrase should show for searches around the keyword you're targeting on. So best red shoes for sale, for instance, and broad will show for anything else that the system thinks is relevant. So green sandals, but I've seen broad keywords show for like competitor keywords and stuff like that, and like different businesses and everything. So it's definitely something you need to, if you are running broad campaigns, you really do need to think about the negative keywords that you're using and add lots of them. Audiences is something that's really, really important as well with paid search. So we have different audiences that we're layering them onto our campaigns. Somebody will still have to search for the keyword that you're bidding on for an ad to show when you're using an audience, but it's a really good way to tighten up your traffic and just show, I suppose, more ads to a more targeted audience, probably smaller, but with a higher conversion rate, for instance. So, but those that are kind of a more awareness audience that are more above the line, we've got affinity, detailed demographics. Detailed demographics can be very good for B2B campaigns, for instance. You've got your consideration audiences, more middle funnel kind of audience. So in market. And then YouTube, you can create audiences of YouTube. So people that have seen YouTube ads, for instance, and then you've got audiences that are at the bottom of the funnel, conversion based, which would be remarketing, customer match, which is emails, addresses, that sort of thing. So yeah, it's important. We kind of generally, when setting a campaign live, set these, just add them into the campaign altogether, see what's working, whenever we get a bit of data, and then kind of split them out into different strategies, separate campaigns if we need to. We can change the copy. We can send them to different people to different parts of the website. And we can have a waterfall technique as well, which is good, that you would show ads to one audience first and then another audience after that, depending on your budget. There's a number of different insights as well that you can get from your Google Ads campaign. So, age and gender, being, I suppose, the top two, and that can, of course, that can be used in other marketing as well. So you can put that into your above the line, or kind of, I suppose, any other advertising that you have. You can see who, what age and what gender, for instance, is bidding on or searching for your brand, which is great. But we can as well, with the audiences, we can target females versus males. We can target, different age groups. We can stop showing ads to people that are within different age groups. You'll notice as well, for this example, there's an awful lot of unknown. So there's an awful lot of unknown. So the way it works is that somebody has to be logged into their Gmail or Google account whenever they're searching. So if they don't have a Google account, they get bucketed into the unknown section as well. I think it depends on the industry that you're in as well. If you're a B2B company, for instance, a lot of people don't use a work kind of Google account. Maybe they're not logged into their Google account on their work laptop, for instance. So it can be quite tricky in that sense. But yeah, it is, over time, I think this data is becoming better. I'll move on. I've mentioned that testing is really, really important. So, you should constantly be looking to test your ad copy. You should be looking at your landing page of what's, trying different CRO strategies out, just to increase with your ads, increase your click-through rate, and with your landing pages to increase the conversion rate as well. And then there's different strategy tests that you can do, whether that's like single keyword ad groups is something that we would have done in the past, moving more into kind of multi-keyword campaigns now, for different strategy tests. Testing different audiences, testing different landing pages, or testing different ad extensions, kind of different kind of image extensions, what images work better, all that kind of stuff. That's one test that we're running at the moment for a client. You can run these very simply within the Google Ads interface. There is an A/B testing solution. It's called Tests and Experiments, and it's called Experiments. Sorry, it used to be called Drafts and Experiments, and they're called Experiments. And you can set up A/B testing very, very easily. I think Bing is something that is a little bit overlooked within the Irish market, and it should be. If you're running advertising that, let's say, particularly if it's outside of Ireland, it can be quite good. Generally, we would say lower search volumes than Google. That's to be expected. But the traffic is cheaper, and there is some interesting integration with LinkedIn kind of strategy around audiences, around kind of bidding up or down on different job titles, for instance. One thing I would say, as I mentioned earlier, I think it's important if you're outside of Ireland, if you're advertising outside of Ireland, it can be quite good, because there's more search volume then to look for. It's also, Bing is also quite good for B2B clients as well. So if you're Bing is the default search engine on all on all Windows devices. So people use Bing a lot in work or that sort of thing. So it is definitely, I think, worth testing. The type of traffic that it sends is very similar to Google Ads, basically the same. It's people searching for your products. They have their own solutions around, that are similar to Google's display network, for instance, called the Audience Network. And, that's something that is, so it's kind of, they have the same kind of solutions in that sense. But it's definitely, I think Bing is something that everybody should at least test. And that is the presentation. If anybody has any questions, I'd be more than happy to take them. Just look into the private chat. Megan, what tools would I use for inspiration when writing ad copy and creating assets? So there is, for ad copy, we used to look at what competitors were doing. We used to, what I've used in the past is you can use SEMrush is good for that, is for looking at what competitors. I would use, you could just do general searches on Google. For inspiration, we live in the world of ChatGPT, so you can use that. I would use it really for inspiration more so than actual ad copy, because there's a lot of finessing that needs to be done. You can, and there's, that's kind of, I suppose, the main thing is as well, look at your ad copy or look at other copy that you have, on social media, kind of TV, radio assets. Is there anything that you can utilize across the spectrum of marketing? What websites would you recommend for keeping up to date with changes in Google Ads and paid social? So for Google Ads, PPC Hero, Search Engine Land, there's Search Engine Watch. There's a pretty good Reddit channel on PPC. PPC Hero is quite good as well, I think, for paid social. There's the Google Ads. There's also the Think with Google, so they have their own website, and there's a podcast as well. Podcasts can be quite salesy, but can be good for, just, I suppose, keeping up with different changes and updates as well. Is there any other questions? Okay. I'm going to take it that there's no more questions. So yeah, thanks for coming to our webinar. I hope you found it interesting and inspirational. My email address is shane@legacycommunications.com. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to reach out. If this all seems a bit daunting and you'd like us to do your paid search for you as well, please don't be afraid to reach out as well, and we'd be happy to start any conversations in that sense. So once again, thank you very much, and enjoy the rest of your evening. Bye.